you can brush your teeth or not. Right?
Actually, you know, the best story I ever heard, I think, might have come from Dan, and that is based on ranking or grades or something. When you were growing up with your mom, that you only ran one bath, and based on pecking order, or whatever. Is what you, because your mom wouldn't empty the bathwater. She put one bath in there. She put one bath. Now hold on. She put one bath in there, Brent, right? And Danny, Steve, and Jay were all vying who got to be first, because by number 3, man, you know, you're sitting in pretty
dirty water.
Yeah, you're sitting in pretty. Now, how did that usually go, Dan? How did that usually go?
I usually won out because I always had the straight A's and I was the oldest. So I almost always
was it
got the
based
first
on
bath.
grades?
Sometimes, yeah, or who was bad that day, or,
right.
Yeah.
But usually, I
got a feeling Jay
obedient.
probably took the dirty one the most.
All the time,
well,
man.
and Jay also had a tendency to,
skip it.
warm it up himself. You know, if he so no one wanted to go after Jay. I'm dead for that. I'm dead for that.
Jay would just pee in it.
He was younger.
Jay is going to kick your ass.
I'm dead.
He's going to say you floated baby roofs in there, though. That's what he said. I got Dave from Bradenton. He may have a question for Steve. Dave, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, my daughter's got a heart condition, dilated cardiomyopathy, and the doc said that it was a good idea for her to have the flu vaccine, and I wanted your opinion on that.
Well, first of all, the flu vaccine, that's the one that has full doses of thimerosal. So unless it was thimerosal free, which is available and you can request it, then your daughter probably got a full dose of thimerosal, which is.
But you can request one that's thimerosal free.
How old is your daughter?
How old's your daughter, sir?
She's 2.
She's 2?
She's 2, yes.
She should be safe at that age if she's talking and walking.
Yeah, how's she doing? Are there any problems?
No, well, I mean, I haven't noticed any. It's already said and done, so I don't know what, if any.
No, I think you'll notice. You'll notice
before I knew anything about the thimerosal or whatever.
Yeah. Well, as my dad was saying, you would notice a change pretty much immediately. And girls are not as susceptible as boys to the mercury and thimerosal, and she's at an age that she's probably fine. So it is okay to vaccinate your child. We're not saying not to vaccinate, but your daughter's at the right age now. Just do it 1 at a time, 2 in talking, and any future flu shots, make sure specifically thimerosal free, mercury free.
Now, are they as effective if they're thimerosal free?
Yeah, they just cost a little bit more to make.
All right, but I mean,
they have a shorter shelf life.
Okay, but it's just as effective, right?
Absolutely.
And what if Joe? What if you got a doctor that says, "Man, you know what? You're way thinking this overboard. The thimerosal, and you get some doctor spiel like you guys are real smart at, and tries to convince somebody that it's not that big a deal." What should you say to your doctor?
Well, here's the point. I've been berated when I took my grandson into the emergency room, and they asked him, "Well, do you have all the shots?" He said he didn't have any,
I want to see the orderly that tries to get in your face. I want to get my reality cameras around for that.
It wasn't pleasant to watch. But the point is, if you're...
You got some nurse practitioner friend that just graduated from nursing school trying to tell Disco Joe that...
this was a pediatrician, Bubba.
This was a doctor?
This was a doctor. And I told her, listen, this is our thought process. We're not changing our mind. And don't try. I have as much literature that's not supplied by the drug companies that can refute these vaccines at too young an age in multiple doses. But the point is you can find a doctor. There are doctors that won't treat you if you don't immunize your kids. But you can find plenty of doctors in Tampa, and if there's any problem, we'll be glad to give a list of those doctors that will respect your wishes. Because if you don't, then you can be in some trouble here. And I do believe, and our family firmly believes, that prudent vaccination, not absence of vaccination, prudent vaccination is the way to go.
Well, there's certainly nothing to lose. I mean, you have a lot to gain in the fact that if you go thimerosal free, then we've not had a lot of bad stories about those types of vaccinations, but we have had a track record of those that have it. So at the end of the day, man, I mean, it may be a little bit more expensive, but it seems like there's no downside at all, Joe, to get it that way instead of the other.
It's really, there is very little downside. Before your child goes to school and involves relationships with other children, there's no reason to over-immunize your child. I think we've gone from when I was a kid to 8 immunizations up to around 33, Dan? Is that what it is?
28 by age 2.
Yeah, 28 by age 2, but I mean 33 by the time you hit first grade. So, I mean, I don't think we have to worry about polio anymore. I mean, we used to have smallpox vaccine. We stopped doing that because there's no smallpox. It's been eradicated in this country.
Right.
What about the HPV for teenage girls?
Well, that's associated with some sterility issues now.
I wasn't planning on doing that with my daughter because I'm kind of leery of it.
Yes.
That's actually a pretty good question for.
And they're really trying to jam it down everybody's throats.
Any girl at all, they're trying to say this is what we got to do.
Yeah, the governor of Texas just made it mandatory.
This is ludicrous. It is ludicrous because it only covers, I think, 25 to 40% of those cervical cancers. The other 60% are not covered. Secondly, frequent exams by your gynecologist will do better than any vaccine. Because people who get this vaccine now will skip their gynecological appointments.
So at the end of the day, man, it's almost like saying, hey, get a vaccine now,
than that, Bubba.
And then not get, don't do the annual, mammograms and pap smears and things like that. So it's like almost dumbing down people, Joe, and making them be lazy.
Yeah, worse than that, Bubba, is the shingles vaccine. Why would anybody want to get a vaccine to prevent shingles, which covers about 1 or 2% of the population, is not fatal, has a 6-week course that's over, and now you're getting another vaccine? I mean, we're going to have a vaccine against warts next. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Anyway, I just got a text from somebody saying this is some of the best information that you guys have given in a long time. So a bunch of people are very appreciative of us doing this and stuff that I didn't know. I got kids. Manson's got kids. Manson, you probably didn't know.
No, I did not.
They've been shoving it down your throat that you got to get your daughter this particular deal, and you got 2 doctors that come from 2 different eras that are saying, I don't know, man. Well, I mean, the jury's still out on that deal.
And there's a real concern that this papilloma vaccine is causing some sterility problems with getting pregnant later in life. And
I need to give Heather that ASAP. Sterilizer. Joe, can you slip me that HPV deal? Sorry about that, fellas.
That's all right. That's funny.
Before we go out this weekend, I'm gonna hit her with a syringe, hit her with a 23 gauge, 1.5 inches. Boom.
But do you think it's a lot of drug company propaganda that gets all this stuff out there?
Oh, absolutely.
First, for-profit deal.
It's all for profit.
Hold on, man.
Tallahassee, they have shut down these bills on banning thimerosal and informed consent for parents. It's amazing the hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars that they've just fought our legislature, which just shut it down. And there were good bills up there because of the power of these lobbyists and the industries. It's amazing.
Disgraceful is what it is.
Disgraceful.
Well, you guys are doctors, man, and I know how you guys will be able to be an expert at this. But Brent and I went to Dr. What's our guy's name? Dr. Joe?
Chiramonte.
Chiramonte is our regular physician. Great guy. Do you know Dr. Joe Chiramonte?
I know of him. I don't know personally.
He's Dr. Mark's buddy. And great guy. Just a family physician.
Yes.
Great guy out of Brandon. Anyway, we went there one day. Me and Brent went there for a checkup. And we're sitting in the lobby for literally 9 minutes. And there's the hottest, most put-together chicks with briefcases. And I'm like, what is it? What is it? Business girl day? What the hell is going on here? And I'm like, so Chiramonte gets it back, and I go, Chiramonte, what kind of racket are you running here? I mean, who are you? He goes, what are you talking about here? And I go, I've seen 4 of the hottest, most put-together business chicks. He goes, oh, those are the drug reps, man. You wouldn't believe. That's all they do is send hot chicks in here trying to sling drugs on me. That's how they operate, my friend. That's the special interest.
Yeah, well, that's one end with the doctors, and the other end with the lobbyists and the lawmakers.
It's a multi-billion-dollar business, but it's funny because my wife was a pharmaceutical rep.
Well, she fits the template.
And, Uncle Nick said, you're letting her do that? And I said, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great job. They pay well. He's like, that is like our dating list, these girls. I mean, they get their foot in the door.
Actually,
they'll do anything.
I got people from Richmond. I got people all over that got some questions about the immunization deal, so I got to get to these people. It's Paul from Richmond. Paul, hi.
Hey, man, what up?
Good.
My son had received a booster, and I'm sure I'm going to call the shot wrong, but I believe it was a DDMPR or something like that, a booster shot. He was perfectly normal till then. He received his booster, and then social skills went down, and before it was over with, it was being diagnosed as Asperger's.
Well, sir, I hate to be a dick, but it may have been inherited with you from the likes of the sounds of this guy.
How old is the kid when he got the shot?
Right around 18 months, 2 years old, right in there.
Yeah, that is the age where kids are susceptible. And, what's interesting is when these things go to court or when the news covers it, they're saying, oh, well, the parents didn't know. I think it's so offensive to tell a father or a mother that they don't recognize an immediate change in their kid. And so it's hard to prove a causation, but there's definitely a temporal or a time relationship between the two, and it's possible. And, I'm sorry to say that your child's going to need extra education, extra hands-on